skeleton is actually the safest of all the sliding sports. People think it's the most dangerous because you go head first and it sounds really, really extreme, but actually it's just like a water slide.
I see skeleton as just a way of keeping me in shape, keeping me busy. Otherwise, I'd probably be sitting at the computer all day and preparing lectures and marking. And so skeleton's really nice. It allows me to do something active and to work towards, I don't know, becoming a better person overall, because you learn a lot in sport. And I didn't realize this before, but you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about your limits and how to push yourself. You learn about failure, you learn about persevering, you learn about just like choking. That's one of the problems I had a lot.
The reason why we are the winningest nation in Olympic winter sport history with 14 gold medals is directly because of the investment that Canadian made into the NSOs and the athletes themselves.
I love skeleton because it's challenging, and there's a wonderful feeling that you have inside when you come through a corner clean and you're at the fastest point in the check and you actually are doing a crazy sport, but you feel that you're in the safest place in the entire world.
I think early on in my career I was focused on getting the result. And then obviously the result was always the desired outcome, but the only way to achieve an outcome is to do the process. And if I don't do the process well, I have no chance at the outcome. And the only way that's going to be worth it is if the journey was worth it.
Ultimately, it just comes down to you got to be happy doing what you're doing, because it really isn't about that one medal or that one games, because as soon as you actually make it there, it's all done.
If the only goal was to go, if the only benefit was going to the Olympics, I mean, then it wouldn't be worth it, right? Like, just physically, it's nice to train for a purpose. You know, you get in shape, and if you're training for, if you have a goal in mind, it's so much more rewarding once you achieve those goals. The training you do is as if you were a sprinter, basically. So you have to get really fast, you have to be strong. So in the summertime, when you're not sliding, that's when you get strong and fast. You can imagine that every little extra bit of speed you gain from that run initially will carry over all the way down the track until someone slower can catch up to you in terms of velocity. So you keep accumulating time against your competitors. Your downtime is approximately, they say, about a third your push and a third your downtime, sorry, a third your driving ability and a third your equipment.
So if you look at a 60-second race, which is roughly from top to bottom on most tracks, at least 45 to say 50 seconds of the race can be attributed to the athlete. Their push, their skill, their ability to drive, a whole bunch of things that are athlete related. So that leaves you roughly 10 seconds for the sled. So, you know, in a close race, the sled could make a difference.
I used to try to overanalyze everything and think, okay, I have to push hard, and this is how I will push hard. I will put my sled down specific angle, this is the way I'm going to run. So there's lots of technique involved, but it turns out that just makes you slow because it's like kind of trying to go down the steps of the stairs and thinking about where you put your feet, you're going to fall down. So it's the same thing, you just got to clear your mind and just think, okay, good run, it's going to be awesome, and just go, give her. Moved to Calgary and I saw the ski jump, and next to it there's a skeleton track. And I thought, you know, that'd be really fun to do. So I had a friend who was a bobsledder, and he said, oh, you should go give it a try.
I've always said Calgary's the best place in the world to learn how to do skeleton. So I think that the Canadian athletes have got a tremendous opportunity now.
Before I was kind of joking, if you want to go to the Olympics, the key is to find a sport obscure enough that no one's doing it, and then you have way better chances, and that's kind of what skeleton is in a way. You might think you just sit on the sled and it goes down and then that's your time, but there's a lot to it, so you have to understand what a corner is doing. So when you go into a corner, you'll feel a lot of pressure sticking into the wall, and depending on how long the corner is, you'll have maybe 2 or 3 pressures, and then you have to know how hard to steer those pressures. You have to try to predict, okay, I'm coming off of my back, why is that happening? Well, perhaps because I I didn't prolong the first pressure long enough, and so then the corner ended up picking me up at the end. There's lots of the intricacies like this that you learn about. These are the types of things you learn in sport, and especially if you're trying to be competitive, you just really have to get your mind game straight. And so it's going to happen, you fail, it happens to everybody, and if you can't learn from your experience and it sets you down, you just get really depressed, you don't get better.
You're literally standing at the top. Your confidence has been thrown out the window completely. You're afraid to go down, and we don't have brakes. You don't have the luxury of where it's like, oh, this doesn't feel safe, and you want to stop. Like, once you're on your sled, you're completely committed. It's not always easy, and it's not the most glamorous lifestyle just because, you know, there might be a highlight of your race on TV. It's definitely a very isolated, pretty strict type lifestyle. But it's something that you choose to do, and those high times are great stories for the rest of your life.
I think what makes people successful is the same everywhere. You have to be creative and passionate about what you're doing. You know, you inspire people to do sport and to push themselves, and you'll have a healthier population, and it's good to see people do great things. It is inspiring.
Ready to go down the little girl run?
Yeah, born ready.
Nice.
Hopefully I do just we can get some footage of that.
That would be awesome. Like right at the bottom though, because I'm going to be waiting for you, right? A little bit rough around the corners, banged into the walls somewhat, but you know, like the second run made up for it on the straightaway. Yeah, feeling pretty good right about now.
Great. Will we see you in Sochi?
Hell yeah, see you in Sochi.
Another group doing on bobsled.
Oh yeah?
That's kind of motivating for us. Yeah. If we're not 5 or 6 times better.
How did they get that idea?
I have no idea. Yeah, they actually get to use some of the CTV stuff, which is
Cheating.
Yeah, totally.
Tonight, it's all